How's it going?
No, same shit, different day.
How's the Ian?
Aye, same shit, different day. It really just depends on how much you waffle, to be honest.
That's true. So about 3 hours then. Cheeky bastard.
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go. Manchester, brace yourself. Rangers are coming!
Hi folks, and welcome to the next episode of the I Ready podcast. As ever, I'm your host Derek, and with me is my co-host Dave. How you doing, Dave?
I'm very well, Derek. How's yourself?
Yes, very well too. Just obviously everybody in the world, everybody in Britain, everybody connected with our club, obviously in shock with the sad passing of Her Majesty the Queen.
Yep, completely shocked, Derek. I think the fact that she was still doing her duties right up until the end is really taking everyone by shock. I don't think anyone was expecting it at all. And now the whole world's focus is now on Scotland. It was up the north of Scotland and now it's in Edinburgh, as the Queen's body is in Edinburgh overnight before she gets moved down to London. And absolutely, tens and thousands of people have been flocking to Edinburgh to pay their respects. So it's been quite a spectacle, Derek, and as you say, our fan base especially, really quite shocked about the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, a 96-year-old woman, you really shouldn't be shocked, but when she's been such a constant in everyone's life, even though you don't know her, she's probably had no, material effect on your life as it goes, but, she's been ever present for 70 years. Yep. She's been on the throne, and it's a piece of history, a very, very sad time for all, but that's life, unfortunately, and we've got a new king to celebrate as well. That's correct, Derek, and especially for our club as a support who sing God Save the Queen after every match, and the fact that our picture is on the wall of the dressing room. I don't think there's another club in the world that's got anything like that. So certainly a huge part of our traditions for our club, and she'll be sorely missed. But as you say, tradition moves on, and we now have a king. So there's going to be a lot of spectacle over the next the coming months and weeks as well. So it's certainly a very surreal time for us all, isn't it? Absolutely, and obviously carrying on the tradition of toasting the monarch with the loving cup as well, and come New Year game it'll be a new monarch, which is exactly. Nobody's heard of before of our generation or of many generations. So historic all round, sad times, but you got to think of what a remarkable woman she was and how much she brought the country together. Yep, incredible, Derek. I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes. So on that note, we will go down the tunnel and onto the pitch. So only one game to cover. Obviously, the Aberdeen game was postponed at the weekend there. So obviously that was just out of duty respect of the Queen's passing as well. But one thing that people really haven't thought of is that UK-wide, this is the biggest policing operation that the UK has ever seen and will ever likely see. It's been in the planning for years and years and years. That ultimately comes first. It's not so much that they're expecting any trouble at these, memorial events or anything like that. It's just that all resources are pretty much diverted to that. So if you think about having to police the Rangers Aberdeen game, or, obviously we'll get on to the Napoli fans as well in the Napoli game, you can understand how that is going to affect big major events like that are normally got a lot of police at them, how that is going to be affected when all the resources really put into other events. So you can understand that one there, Dave, can't you? Yeah, and I think it was the right thing to do as well, Derek, for the whole football in the United Kingdom to pay their respects, and the games all be cancelled. It was definitely the right thing to do. Significantly, though, Derek, for myself, on a personal note, my son's football did not get cancelled. They made a decision with regards to children's well-being, physical exercise and things like that all the youth games went ahead. And for me, I got a special treat, was to see my son play at Flesher's Hawk at the weekend, which was quite incredible. So brilliant. The fact that I got to go there as well and see that, so I did get to see some football at the weekend, Derek, so that was that. But ultimately, it was the correct thing to do. Yeah, absolutely. However, before that game was even meant to kick off, the game we're going to cover tonight, Dave, you're going to take the lead in this one.
It was on Wednesday, the 7th of September. It was our first game in the Champions League for 12 years. Group A, Game 1, and it was a 4-0 loss away to Ajax.
Derek, like I've started here and like I started in the post-match preview that we had, we've waited 12 long years to get to the promised land, haven't we? Everything that we've been through. And for us to wait 12 years, the significance of this match, we got a completely gutless performance from our players. 2 games in a row, almost carbon copy. I'll get into it, Derek. You can give me your thoughts. The team that Gio decided to go on for this momentous game for us was McLaughlin in goals. There was a lot of talk. Was he going to keep his place? Was he going to go back to McGregor? He stuck with McLaughlin, Derek. That was the first big talking point. The back four again, Tavernier, Goldson, Sands and Barisic. The 3 in midfield that he went with were Kamara and Lundstrom. Tillman playing in front of them up front. Scott Wright, Ryan Kent and Kolach up front. On the bench for Rangers, McGregor, McCrory, Ridvan, Davies, King, Devine, Jack, Davis, Arfield, Matondo, Alfredo Morelos and Fashion Sakala. So Derek, straight away, McLaughlin in goal. Correct decision?
Yeah. I think it's got to be, take the Celtic game in isolation. He's done nothing wrong. I know that people are going on and about him, but this is the problem with when we retained McGregor. We should have got rid of him. Everybody's going to be going back to, we should get McGregor and we should do... No. You don't drop a player after a horrendous game like that. You get right back on the horse. That's as simple as. And I think in this game, he once again proven himself.
Yeah, no, he did well. One of the very few players that did, Derek. Well, first 10 minutes, there wasn't much in it, Derek. Let's be honest. Ajax having the bulk of the play, really, but nothing much happening. We certainly weren't putting them under any pressure. But likewise, nothing real major problems for us to deal with at the back. But then the first sign that we were going to have to get our acts together was in the 10th minute. And again, it was like the Celtic game, Derek. It was a corner on the left-hand side, right into the box, and there was the big defender. Absolutely no one on him. Gets his head behind the ball, over the bar, nobody marking him. That could easily have been 1-0. Warning signals should have been flashing there, Derek. Just poor marking. And then only 7 minutes later, that was when Ajax got their first goal. And again, from a corner, Derek, oh my God. And I could hear you shouting in the background, Derek, as I have been over the years. But a corner in for the right again. Absolutely no marking. And there's big Alvarez heading right into the back of the net. And what is it that you would be saying, Derek, at that point?
Where's the man on the post?
Exactly. Absolutely shocking defending, Derek. Again, going back to the first one, 10 minutes in, you thought that they would have said, right, on you go. The zonal marking, Derek, which, is quite obvious that we're playing now. If you come up against any half-decent attacking team, they're going to see right through it. We've not got the players to play a zonal marking system, and it was just really poor all round, wasn't it?
I just think it's all about the marking for me. The man in the post is one issue, and the goal wouldn't have went in ultimately if there was a man in the post. But you've got to do the right things first, and that's defend. I think it ended up Bassi was actually with Tavernier. They kind of jumped up together. It ended up with 3 of our players standing in pretty much the same piece of ground all together, no marking anybody, and the boy got a free header. It's just shocking.
Really, really poor, Derek. At that level, you cannot defend like that. You really can't. You're going to get punished. For the next 10 minutes, though, Derek, it was just all Ajax, was it? Well, say for the next 10 minutes, for the next, the next 70-odd minutes. But it was just an ascendancy from Ajax. So just had the ball constantly, passing the ball around our players. Our players looked lethargic as anything. We could not do anything. And in the 27th minute, Ajax really should have scored their second goal because, I don't know, it just stood off them and they basically passed their way through our defence. Attacker runs through 1-on-1, hits the low shot, thankfully past the post. So, that could have been 2-0 easily. And then only 5 minutes later, Ajax get their second of the night, Derek. And again, it was fortuitous from them, but again for us, just not being able to clear the ball. It was the ball was played into the box. It was the right winger Berghuis. He takes a shot. The shot deflects off his sands and basically just rolls past McLaughlin, who was flat-footed, and rolls into the net. A big deflection, but again, he got into the box very easily, Derek. He should never have been allowed to have the shot. It should have been charged down. It wasn't. And we would take that type of goal any day, wouldn't we? Especially in the Champions League. Again, it was just far too easy for them to get in the box, and the shot easy. Nobody doing their job that they should have been doing. And then that same 2-up, but it's just over half an hour played.
I mean, you can't really blame Sands at all for the deflection. He tried to clear it, he stuck out his leg, and unfortunately it deflected in. But it was giving the ball away so cheaply. You cannot afford to do that at this level. And
then the game was over 2 minutes later, Derek, when Ajax got their third goal, and it was the winger Kudos who had been a thorn in our side all game. And again, we're going to have to call out James Tavernier here, Derek, because I don't know what he was playing at, because the winger basically got the ball just inside the Ajax half with Tav next to him, and he basically just ran side by side with Tav, side by side, and then just shoulder charged past him into the box. He hit a fantastic shot. I'm not taking anything away for the finish, Derek. Right diagonally past McLaughlin. Fantastic shot, but there's no way that Tav should be getting out-muscled like that. There's no way that Tav should be getting beat when he's, alongside him for such a long time. Poor defending. I know you put a tweet out after it, basically saying, we all know that Tav's not a great defender, but that, for me, Derek, was sort of a bit bread and butter for a guy, his experience. Just really, really poor again, and that's the game over at that stage.
I mean, it was a cracking finish, absolutely, but we shouldn't have allowed it to get that far. I mean, Tavernier ran out to the boy, and rather than just going absolutely through the ball, he kind of put a half-hearted tackle in, and then he gets turned so easy, and then he runs alongside it. Just take him out. Simple as. Professional foul, you get a yellow card, take him out, it stops the play dead. I just don't understand it.
It was just shocking, Derek, and that's what I said. It was game over then, and this is when the panic sets in, because I thought to myself, at this stage, we are playing so badly, they are getting the ball so quickly and attacking so quickly, this could turn into be an absolute cricket score, because up until half-time, Ajax were just constantly on the ball. We could not get a touch of the ball. If we did get a touch of the ball, very briefly, we ended up that we could only pass it maybe once or twice, and we were giving the ball away, or we basically couldn't do anything. And on the 40th minute, they could have had another one. It was a fantastic save from McLaughlin, low, shot just outside the box. And then just before half-time, Ajax still constant pressure, one-touch passing. The ball played inside the box and then back to Tadic, the Ajax player, who shoots, and another fantastic save by McLaughlin to keep it still at 3-0. But they were just walking through us, Derek, and that is where the first half finished. For me, I was just completely flabbergasted. I didn't think we could play as badly as we did for the game beforehand at Celtic, but they were proving me wrong, Derek, because we looked like the rabbit that was caught in the headlights, 100%.
Absolutely, there's a step up in quality, but it was a case of us not even looking as if we were bothered. That's what really annoyed me about the game.
It was just abysmal, Derek. Ajax were completely outclassing us in every single department. There wasn't one player on the park that I could honestly say had pass marks. And there were players on the park. I turned to my son that I was watching it with, and I says, has he had a touch of the ball? Has he had a touch of the ball? It was just, we couldn't remember. Guys who we usually rely on to get stuck in as well, the likes of Lundstrom. I said it already in the post-match. I don't know if Lundstrom's completely fit, if he's maybe carrying an injury. He looked a complete shadow of himself, which is quite incredible. But as you say, every single player, there's not one of them looked as if they were that bothered. It was really embarrassing at that stage. Anyway, into the second half, Derek, Gio decided to make some changes. He had to do something. He brought 3 subs on at half-time. He brought on King, Matondo and Jack to replace Tav, Tillman and Wright. Now, there was a big thing. Was Tav carrying an injury? I don't think he would have took him off just because of that goal. And it wasn't just him that was having a poor game. So there was something wrong. But it looked to me as if he was going to try at the time to go back to a back 5. That wasn't to be, because he put King in there at right back. But anyway, 49th minute, the first half chance by Rangers was a free kick taken by Barisic into the box in a sort of half half-hearted header by Sands. I didn't think he actually had the confidence to think that he was actually going to do something. That went past the post. And then Ajax were just treating the game like a training game, Derek, weren't they? From that stage, it was just as if they were passing the ball about, and then they were just going to decide at any moment, we can score another one when we want. In the 65th minute, they really could have, because Kudos again gets the ball at the edge of the box, skips and swerves past Goldson, past Lundstrom, and he was just about to pull the trigger, and then a last-ditch tackle from King saved it, I think, from being 4-0 at that stage. 67th minute, another half chance for Ray. I'm saying another one. It was only the second half chance that I can remember. Matondo with a cross right for the right wing, right over. Ryan Kent was running in. Again, I don't know if he genuinely thought he was going to do anything. I think that if he'd really put something into it, he might have got. He almost connects with it, but the ball ends up going over the bar. And then we get a fantastic goal for Rangers on the 71st minute. We thought we had pulled one back. Borna Barisic with a tremendous finish, but VAR did not go in our favours, Derek, did it? It was a fantastic finish, but that was going to rub salt in the wounds that we didn't get the goal. That was in the 71st minute. What did you make of that?
It was a stunning goal, a stunning finish by him, but lovely ball from Lundstrom to Kent. Decent work for Kent to cut it back. As I said, stunning finish, but Kent in an offside position to start with, and the replay showing he was just casually strolling back. I am so beyond fucked off with that boy now.
Again, Derek, I can't actually remember the last time he had a half-decent game for us. Can you?
It was a few games ago we covered, but he's only had one game this season where he's actually been any good. And even into last season, there's a handful of games you could say was, anything decent. But he does the same trick every single time. Gets down the left wing, uses his pace, beats a couple of men, steps inside, either hits a shot well wide or he just runs it into trouble. He's an empty shirt now.
It's just, and as I say, when we need players like him, he's one of your experienced players, Derek. He's one of your big-time players, and we need him to turn up on nights like this to show something, and it's just no working at all. But then getting back into the game, Derek, 80th minute, I am taking responsibility for this one. Like I said, I think I told you before, I sent you a text. I was watching it with my son, and I actually said to him, since Ryan Jacks came on, he's actually completed more passes, I think, than the entire Rangers team has put together. And just as soon as I said that, Ryan Jack gets the ball, passes it back towards the Rangers box. I don't know who he thought he was passing it back to. The Ajax player, Bergwijn, runs through, picks up the loose ball, rounds McLaughlin and passes the ball into the net. A complete and utter disaster.
Dave, I don't even have the energy to blame you in that one, to be honest. So I just, at that point, even if it went 3-1 in the lunch and the Barisic goal stood, or getting nothing out of the game, this just compounded the issues. And Jack's such a normally composed player. He was completely found wanting. And when you've got a team that are looking lethargic, looking as if they want to just go home, and then coming up against a team who, let's be honest, they didn't need to try anything because they were just so much better than us. When you do lazy passes like that, we're going to end up second best.
There's only a few other things to say here in the game, Derek, that I've got written down. Ajax, again, could have had another goal after that in 86 minutes. Attack on the right wing again, into the centre forward, who shoots for the edge of the box, thankfully straight at McLaughlin. And, that was it, Derek. It was absolutely disastrous. And what I kept asking myself was, and a lot of people are saying, this shows the level up for playing in the Europa League to playing in the Champions League. I think that's a lot of tosh. We have to ask ourselves, Derek, there's two players have left that played in that major European final in Aribo and Bassi. The rest of the guys are all there, still there, and were playing at the very top level not too long ago. What has happened in that short space of time? That's what I want to know. Something seems to be stinking at the club at the moment. I don't know what it is. Something behind the scenes that we don't know about. It's incredible. Derek, me and you have got very differing opinions about Alfredo Morelos. I know that you are completely sick with him and his antics and stuff like that. I absolutely love the guy. He's our all-time European top goal scorer when he is on form, or when he's got it in his head that he's got, to try and prove somebody wrong. He's the man to play out there. I am 100% certain that if Morelos had been playing against Ajax, he might have got a booking, he might that, but we would certainly have posed more of a threat going forward than we certainly did there. He would have given the other defenders something to think about just with his I There's something wrong there as well, that he can't even get on as a sub when we're getting hammered, Derek. There's something, I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what you think about the whole thing, Derek, but there's something really, really seriously wrong at the moment.
I think in the terms of Morelos, he's done that all to himself. I think that was maybe a bit of a lesson for him. And when we were 3-0 down, you could have chucked him on. What would it have actually done? When the whole team are playing this bad, what is bringing him on going to really do? That's my opinion of him. The whole team, I think, they've not really started this season. We've had a few fleeting glances of games. PSV game is probably the best we've played all season. A couple of domestic games we've played decent. There's been an overreaction, I think, between this and the Celtic game, where everybody's wanting Gio out. No, I don't think that's the answer at all. Granted, it's two shocking results.
Yeah.
You can't get that away from. I don't think it's the results themselves; it's the manner of the results.
It's the performances, Derek. It's this half-hearted, abysmal pish that we're watching. We're looking at players and we're saying to ourselves, "You can't be bothered. You're not interested. This isn't affecting you. This isn't really pissing you off." That's what's worse for me.
The performance of the last couple of games was, for me, more akin to the performance against Frankfurt, where I almost think that the occasion overwhelmed the players. And I don't see why that should be now, because we've played in plenty of games before. And Frankfurt, we never turned up, I don't think. We were unlucky in the end, absolutely. We taken the lead, but we were pretty crap all game. Mm-hmm. Bar a couple of moments. One of them was a goal. But this season, I just think we haven't really started, and we've had one big massive game against PSV where we played outstanding, and in fact we've had two games, I would have said, the second leg against Union and the second leg against PSV. Whereas these two games, the Celtic game and this game, it's just almost like everything's overawed them, and I don't understand why. Because these players are an accomplished team now. They've been playing together long enough. They should know how to play against these teams. They just switched off. What really angered me more, though, was the comments from Gio afterwards. He said that you need hundreds of millions of pounds to compete in the Champions League. No, you need hundreds of millions of pounds to win it. To compete, you need to turn up and work hard. Yep. That's what we didn't do. We never turned up and we never worked hard. So I don't know if this was an excuse he was using or it was a wee bit of a dig at the board. But as we've seen with the Gerrard thing, it all came out in the wash afterwards when we never signed players, is the fact that Gerrard overridden the director of football and he didn't allow any players to leave, which obviously meant we couldn't sign anybody because we never had the funds there. Yes, we allegedly have got the funds now, but I think there's stuff in the background there, as we discussed in the last podcast about the finances. So we'll have a clearer picture, obviously, when the finances are released in November, December time. So we'll find that out and we'll see how in a precarious or not situation we are. So I don't know if that was a dig, but I think that was a poor excuse, because as that's been pointed out with him, if that's really the case about the golf and finances is the reason why we're competing, we should be beating teams in the Scottish leagues, bar Celtic, 4-0 every week. Yeah,
and I'm sure Dynamo Zagreb were coming away with things like that when they beat Chelsea the night before. Derek, do you know what I mean? It's a very poor excuse in my books.
And we'll be using that excuse when we hammered Borussia Dortmund 4-2. No, we weren't.
Yep.
So it's utter bollocks, that kind of excuse. And as I said, I don't know if that was a dig or not. But anyway, I think the more worrying thing of that group was the fact that Napoli beat Liverpool 4-1 as well.
I know, that was quite an incredible result, Derek. So that puts us even further down now. And you've got to think that Liverpool are going to have to come out now even stronger and even more determined to make sure that they win their remaining games as well. So we knew it was going to be uphill, Derek, but going by that last game, it's going to be nigh on impossible. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the players manage to figure it out, but it's going to be a tough one, Derek, isn't it? And I think it's going to be a tough watch.
Yeah, I think so. So, games to come. We've obviously don't know when this Aberdeen game is going to get rescheduled. It might be into next year for all we know because of the whole fixture congestion because of the World Cup. But anyway, in a change from the game that should have been tomorrow night, we're now playing Napoli on Wednesday the 14th of September. It's still an 8 o'clock kickoff, and that's in Game 2 of Group A of the Champions League. Now, obviously, with all the changes, there is no away allocation permitted due to policing, and out of sport and integrity, no away Rangers fans for the return leg, which was mandated by UEFA. Some not happy at this. Understandably, I can see their point, as they had booked flights and accommodation, but that's out with football, and that's certainly not Rangers' fault, as some people were pointing out. In terms of moving the game from Tuesday to Wednesday, that is completely understandable as well, is because that's when the Queen's body is going to be moved down to London, so there's a massive policing operation for there. So again, if you can imagine, you're going to get the mental ultras of Napoli that are the ones that are going to be travelling.
I think everyone kind of understands that, Derek. It's going to be a massive operation for everything that's happened, and it was going to be a massive operation for the police for this game at Ibrox as well. So I can see exactly how it's that they've changed it, and the fact that it's been changed just to the next night, to keep the fixtures going is probably the sensible thing to do.
Yeah, I just think that the away leg, with our fans not being allowed to get into the stadium, I don't know, I can almost understand it with the fact that they never got their fans in the stadium as well. But all that's going to happen is there's a massive potential now for, obviously, well, they're not going to be getting tickets, there's not going to be an away allocation, but all that might lead to then is fans that have booked flights and accommodation, they might still travel anyway, and then they might try and get tickets for the home end and try and sneak in that way, which causes more problems ultimately, especially in what's going to be a very volatile area. So it might be the worst thing that they've done.
Yeah, you could well be right there, Derek.
Yeah. Next game after that, before the international break, is Saturday the 17th of September. That's at home to Dundee United in the Premiership. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Dave, I won't get to see the game. I think you will get to see the game, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to get a post-match podcast out for that one.
Right, okay, Derek, we'll have to see what we can try and get sorted for there, but we'll deal with that when it comes.
Yes, so big games to come, as always.
Definitely, yes. And like we said, it's hopefully the team can get their act together, Derek. I'm hoping that's the shitty games gone. We get some players back and move on for there.
Yes. So now it's time for the news. So a few things to cover in the news here. First one, we probably should have covered it with the Ajax game, is the absolute shambles that was the travel club. Now, it was apparently a day trip from Glasgow to Amsterdam, £700 odd, I think it was. A day before, I think, there was an email out to the folk who bought it stating that they were not going to be flying into Amsterdam, but into Brussels, and a transfer by bus to the stadium from Brussels. That's a 5-hour journey. Bloody shocking.
Unbelievable, Derek. Absolutely shocking.
And then they got a notification to say that the flight was returning not to Glasgow, but to Prestwick. So Rangers issued a statement saying that's completely unacceptable, however, out with their control, which it was, and they did offer a £300 refund. So that was kind of fairly decent that way. Then the whole thing got cancelled. I believe it was on the morning of the game. So there was no tickets at all for fans. Presumably the tickets that were meant to be going to these fans were sold at the stadium. Rangers again stated it was unacceptable and stated a full refund would be issued and guaranteed tickets away for the away Liverpool game for those who bought tickets for this game. That's great for these fans, but not so great if people were trying to get tickets on the My Gear scheme afterwards.
Yeah, that's right, yep.
But a lot of fans doing their dinger. Rangers are getting a bit of the blame. I don't think you can blame really Rangers for that. However, are these companies that we're getting in tow with, especially for something so important as the travel club, are they being fully vetted to see if they can actually fulfil what they're offering? I know there's a big issue with the travel industry just now, but that's really no the point. On the day of, when you're getting cancellations, when you're getting massive changes to your booking as well, that's not acceptable at all.
No, definitely not, Derek. I mean, I know everything's short notice, especially, we didn't know we were going to be in the Champions League until, about a week before. But as you say, you would like to think there'd be some due diligence done in the companies that we're actually using. But a really, really poor show for these people that are running these companies. And again, it's the fans that are missing out, isn't it? Absolutely.
Next thing here is Shetland star Douglas Henshaw has had to apologise after a tweet he put out after the Old Firm game saying, "It's always a good day when the Huns get humped." Now, it's just the ongoing issue of people, especially in prominent positions, being allowed to say exactly what they want about us and our fans, and there's absolutely no repercussions whatsoever. Yep. Just like that utter cockwomball Martin Compston as well with his IREOK as well. How do these people keep getting away with it?
It's a hard one, Derek, because he's obviously just an arse. But as I say, there should be more getting done by the people that are employing them. There wasn't even a full kind of apology from them, was it? It was a sort of spur of the moment thing, and all of this. There was no sort of full apology from him. Just another idiot trying to play to the masses, Derek. And it's. I can't even say it's backfired on him because, as you say, there's not been any repercussions, really, has there?
No. So, as usual, they get away with it every single time. Next thing here, it came from Claxon Jackson, so it's going to be likely bullshit, but apparently we're going to be cut out of the new TV deal as we've apparently demanded cash and an apology over the Cinch deal. Now, I can see us demanding an apology, especially how they trashed us in the media over the issue before the court cases. The whole cash issue, I can't see that being the case at all, because ultimately we're getting the Cinch money anyway, aren't we? So,
yep.
Unless it's to pay legal expenses, I'm not too sure if that's the thing. But ultimately, I think the whole thing about trying to cut us out of the TV deal is going to be absolutely bullshit, considering we're half the reason why there's any sort of TV deal anyway. I hope it's true, though, because our lawyers would no doubt absolutely obliterate it and maybe even pave the way for us going on our own way and getting a better deal for ourselves.
Derek, I'm just more shocked the fact that Keith Jackson's still on the go and folk are listening to what he's saying, to be perfectly honest with you.
Oh, he's got a column in the Daily Record, so...
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Again, a newspaper, I'm surprised it's still going, Derek.
Exactly. Next thing here is it was announced today that apparently Rangers won't be playing the Champions League anthem before the Napoli clash, so obviously in tribute to the Queen as well. Yeah. So... Okay. Hopefully we play God Save the King in its place.
Exactly, that'd be good. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen, but that'd be good.
Yes. Talking about TV deals as well, as this came up this time, but with another company, Premier Sports. Rangers and Celtic are due to play the same night in the Premier Sports Cup, which is Wednesday, October the 19th. Celtic are away to Motherwell at 6:15, and we are at home to Dundee. That's an 8:15 kickoff. I mean, the times are absolutely horrendous for fans. Once again, fans not brought into the fore when it comes to deciding on times. Apparently, it's so that they can play games back to back and show them. Can you imagine if there's going to be extra time and penalties as well then?
Horrendous for trying at that time of night, Derek.
Yeah, I mean, Motherwell owner Alan Burrows has hit out, and quite rightly so. I agree with his sentiment. However, this is the point though. If they're happy to sign up with TV deals and let TV companies run roughshod over the clubs and their fans, why agree with TV deals in the first place then? It's in their own power to sort it out, but no, they're too busy trying to get the quick pound.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. Last story here is that the 5 Stars event at the Armadillo that was meant to be taking place with Gaza and Laudrup was set to go ahead despite the passing of the Queen. However, it was cancelled on the day of after some discussions. Now, I think it was the wrong decision to allow it to go ahead. I can kind of understand why they were trying to do it, because it's probably going to be quite difficult to get Gaza and Laudrup, their schedules, in the same room at the same time. But I'm glad in the end it was cancelled and they're going to try and rearrange.
Yeah, but it's definitely, again, the sensible thing to do, Derek. Hopefully they can get something sorted with them. We'll be speaking to our contact, Graham, about that to see if he's got any news in the future. Hopefully we'll be able to find something out for them.
Yes. So, 7 bizarre sex stories that you couldn't even make up. 7, Dave. Got 7 for you this week.
This is even good for you, Derek.
A guy who tried to have sex with a drinks trolley. Andrew Davidson, 25, had consumed a cocktail of legal highs and alcohol when he attempted to have sex with a drinks trolley on a busy train in 2013.
Oh my God.
He was seen humping the trolley while shouting, "I want to kiss you, I want to fuck you." After avoiding a prison sentence, his solicitor said, "This is something that has never happened before and is unlikely to happen ever again."
Ever again. Oh my God.
The guy who tried to have sex with an ambulance. Another 25-year-old man was arrested after setting fire to a packet of peanuts before appearing to try and make love to an ambulance. A court heard the man was in relatively high spirits on a night out in Barnstaple, Devon in 2011. He was given a community order and to pay a victim surcharge of £60.
Setting fire to a packet of peanuts beforehand. What? Oh my God.
The guy who tried to have sex with a car wash vacuum.
I can see there's a common link here, Derek,
Yes.
between your stories, right? Okay.
In 2008, a US man was arrested for receiving sexual favours from a vacuum at a car wash in Michigan. A witness who saw the man acting suspiciously. He said, "I've seen some strange things, but this is the weirdest I've ever heard." Next thing. The vicar hospitalised with a potato up his bum.
Oh.
A clumsy vicar was hospitalised in Sheffield after accidentally getting a potato stuck up his bum.
Accidentally.
But it was definitely not due to a sex game. Nurse Trudy Watson said, "He explained to me, quite sincerely, he had been hanging curtains naked in the kitchen when he fell backwards on the kitchen table and onto a potato."
As you do, Derek. As you do. You know, that's perfectly plausible.
I mean, I'm regularly in my kitchen naked, Steve, hanging up curtains.
Aye, with a potato directly underneath you. Aye.
The guy who had sex with his girlfriend's dog. A teenager avoided jail after filming himself having sex with his girlfriend's pet dog, who was called Rudy.
No.
Wayne Bryson's girlfriend found the shocking footage on his mobile phone. A court heard it was 30 seconds of madness.
Oh my, I didn't even want to get involved in this story, Derek. I really don't.
The guy who had tried to have sex with sheep after a cow had turned him down. An IT worker tried to have sex with a sheep after a cow turned him down. The court heard he did not successfully penetrate the mouth of a cow with his penis, and even then moved to another part of the field and tried his luck with some sheep.
See, to be fair, Derek, I bet you it's not the first time that you've been turned in by a cow.
Hey.
Oh my God.
And finally, the guy who likes cheese a bit too much. This guy likes to drive around his neighbourhood and offer women money to put cheese on his genitals, allegedly. Chris Pagano, dubbed the Swiss cheese pervert, was arrested after police released a photo of a trouserless man dangling a cheese of the smelly stuff in the air.
Swiss cheese pervert. Oh dear.
And on that note,
we
will end the podcast.
Oh my God. Derek, I really do worry about you sometimes. I really do.
I've actually got sore cheeks now.
I don't know what I know. The potatoes in there. Definitely on that note.
That was a Freudian slip if I've ever had one.
It certainly was.
Not on a potato.
Oh dear.
Yes, so it's a rather short podcast this week. It's not going to be until a few weeks by the time we get out the next podcast anyway, but obviously we'll be back with a post-match after the game on Wednesday, and I'll have just landed when the game kicks off, I think, on the Saturday the 17th, so I'll need to try and keep up to date with Twitter on that one.
Definitely.
Yes. So you can check out all our other stuff on our social media sites and on our website, which is ireadypodcast.com. No, it's not. It's ireadypodcast.wordpress.com.
Well done.
I got it right eventually.
Aye.
So, sad times for us all, but all that's left to say is God save the King.
Yep. God save the King.